In this video, a long overdue update on the results from the recent elections, both in Colchester and Gloucester. Yes, how did Matthew Randolph get on as the police crime commissioner? I'm rather behind with video making as I've been helping elderly relatives abroad move house. And boy, what a kerfuffle that's been. The levels of bureaucracy in other countries makes England look positively dreamy. But anyway, what happened in Colchester at the elections? Well, pretty much what always happens. The same old lot, more or less, give or take, got voted in. Very few people bothered to turn up and vote. You've no doubt seen the summaries in the Gazette and the Standard, but one you may not have seen, which to me was the best summary of all, was made by this gentleman, whose handle on Twitter is Colonel Camulus. It's a shame he doesn't make videos. His written words are very entertaining. I nominate him to write the leaflets for the next elections. That really would be good. So, did Castle Ward stick with Steph? Or as one of her former colleagues so delightfully put it, did they stick it to Steph? How nice of him to come up with that tagline. Supporters of Councillor Nisson on Facebook were less than impressed by the hashtag come up by Councillor Gloucestershire. But I've been unable to find the tweet, so it clearly has been removed. Anyway, unfortunately for her, they did. Yes, they chose the Green candidate, who turns out to be a real sweetheart by getting flowers for all of the runners-up. That's very considerate. Well, I'm not sure that it was actual flowers, more seeds by the looks of it, because he got cornflowers for the Lib Dems, which are blue, Conservative Nigella seeds, which are blue and white, and for the Labour, they got honesty. Ha ha ha, no dig there then. Which are usually white or pink, so interesting choices from the Green candidate there. Unfortunately, with his act of generosity, he forgot to actually give them to Steph Nisson. Perhaps she should send him a packet of forget-me-nots. Now, I was in a bit of a hurry making the previous video, and it was very remiss of me. I forgot to mention Councillor Mike Hogg. Now, I haven't seen him in many meetings, which is probably why it slipped my mind. The fact he managed to stick it out as a councillor in Colchester for 38 years is nothing short of miraculous, and deserves a mention and probably a medal.
Your fundamental question around have we scrutinised the climate emergency? Well, we haven't, have we, in this forum, in here? I'm going to make you an offer. If I'm re-elected in May, we will scrutinise it in this forum. Because I've seen and heard enough of your presentations to intrigue me enough to want to scrutinise it. I say that as someone who didn't vote for a climate emergency in the chamber, because I wasn't elected when that vote was called. And so the information that you are continually bringing here is such, rather like what we talked about earlier this evening, there are legitimate questions. And the best form of disinfectant is sunshine. So I welcome the conversation. And if I'm elected after May, if the panel are minded, I'm very happy to bring it here as a formal item and have a substantial look at it for you.
And Councillor Laws did get voted back in, so we will be reminding him on a near weekly basis about scrutinising the climate emergency. So even though I've been knee-deep in boxes and bureaucracy for the past few weeks, had Matthew Randolph won, I would have found the time to do a video. So, as you probably guessed, he did not get voted in to be the new Police and Crime Commissioner for Gloucestershire. But not entirely surprising, because realistically he only had 3 weeks in which to get known and voted for, so to get a campaign running. But what he did manage to achieve was, I think he said 13% of the votes. Now, considering they only managed to leaflet drop to 30,000 people, which is about 10% of the population, he actually did very well getting 13%. Just imagine what he could have achieved had he had 6 months of campaigning. That probably would have had a very different result. But he and Johnny and the team are not remotely downcast by this. In fact, he gleefully told me that he does have 6 months to campaign for something else, which only costs £500, and that's to become an MP. So that's Matthew's next thing. Now, I was going to go into more detail about what's been happening in Gloucester because, as I alluded to in other videos, there's been a lot of shenanigans to try and stop him becoming the Police Crime Commissioner for Gloucestershire. So I was going to do that in this video. But remarkably, there's been even more shenanigans since the voting was over. So I think it's going to be better for Matthew to tell you what's going on in his own words. And also, there's something happening today that I can't give you details of that, well, let's just say people have lost more than enough faith in the police and the system, and they are about to do something incredibly stupid, which isn't going to help public opinion of them, let's say. And they've picked the wrong man, once again, to do this to. So we'll report on that as soon as we're able to with time and scheduling. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to continue to make the number of videos that I have been making over the past few months because, well, I really need to get back to work. I've been doing this for nearly 18 months, more or less full time. And, you know, a 15-minute video can take anywhere between 12 and 20 hours with filming and editing time, sometimes longer if there's a lot of research that has to go into it. And yeah, doing 2 or 3 videos a week, it's just not sustainable. So I have rather bitten off more than I can chew. So as I have bills to pay, I better go back to work rather sharpish. So videos will be somewhat sporadic from now on because it's not just work commitments, it's also family commitments. Elderly relatives are needing a lot more help. So there's only so much time I have. And also it's behind the scenes stuff. It's not just editing the videos. And hopefully as the channel grows, more and more people will donate to the upkeep of the channel. And you know, if enough people donate £1 or £2 a month, consistently, that's the thing, it's consistent income, because I don't want to put advertising on the channel. I know everyone tells me off for that, but I don't want my income related to outside influences like YouTube that can just strike you down in an instant. And a lot of the famous faces that you see speaking out about certain things, often as not, they have backers. And I don't want a financial backer because then you are beholden to that person and that views, and they are telling you what you can and can't say. So what I would rather do is if people enjoy the content of the channel and want us to do more than our full-time jobs allow us, then, you know, donate to the channel and keep us and people like us going. That's, I think, is more important, that it's grassroots, people-funded, people action. So that would be my preference to advertising. The only time I would really seriously consider allowing ads would be if people tell me that your videos get shown more if you've got adverts in them. I'm doing a little test on my other channel to see if that's actually true, and if it is, yes, then I won't be quite so stubborn. I will consider putting them on the channel. But for those of you that are new to the channel, fear not, there's nearly 60 videos you can watch, and most of them are all still very relevant to what's going on. And I do have a few videos pre-recorded in the pipeline that I'll release. We're starting our Lawman series with paralegal Damien Jones. So look out for that series. It will show you how to push back in a more meaningful way than we've probably managed to achieve just by going in and serving verbal notices. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.